Hey guys, this is Ryan Hunter with TechWise Academy. Good to see you guys here this afternoon. Nice to see you here this afternoon, Owen. Glad you tuned in this afternoon. Today we're going to start off a little bit differently than we did last week. We are actually going to showcase one of your Scratch projects, and that's what we're going to do moving forward. And I'll show you how to do that a little bit later. But first off, let's jump right in and start exploring a project that was sent to me. Now, this project was sent by FastSnake00, name right here, and he sent me this link to his Scratch project. And I know this particular student because that's my son, and he's been to several classes, but he sent me this project that he wanted me to share with you guys this afternoon. And this one's called Penguin Jump. So this is our main project page in Scratch. He's got some good instructions on how to play the game. So use the space to jump. If you touch the snowflake, you lose, and it says game over, get wrecked, which is the vernacular is I'm sure makes sense to you guys, but there it is. Also, every 20,000 points, the game gets harder. And check out other projects, and there you go. So let's play this first, and then we'll jump inside, and I'll see a little bit about what's going on inside of this project. So click go. All right, so this looks, okay. So if you guys have played any or have ever browsed to anything in Google Chrome and the page didn't show up, you have that little dinosaur running across the screen, jumping over cactus and under pterodactyls and everything. So this is similar to that, it looks like. And I apparently got hit by the snowflake and got wrecked. I'm going to stop this real quick just because I know the sound is coming through pretty loud on that. So, okay, pretty straightforward game. Nice work on this FastSnake00. Let's check a look at the code. So you can view anyone else's code in Scratch if you click that See Inside button that I just did on this particular project. And we have several sprites. We have a sprite for the snowflake. Sprite looks like a button for a shop, and I think he said in the comments that he's working on the shop. There's a restart button, and there is a buy coins button, it looks like. So I'm going to check out the penguin, look at that just a little bit, and we'll figure out what's going on with the penguin. So if you saw with the penguin, whenever we press the spacebar key, the penguin jumped up. So that's what I want to figure out first, is how he made this penguin look as though it were jumping on the screen. So let's find a when space key pressed, because that's where that's going to happen. Whenever we see when space key is pressed, there's a when flag clicked, when I receive shop, when I restart. Looks like the code's stacked on top of each other down here. When I receive restart. All right, maybe you did it a different way here. That's fine. There's, like I said last week, there's several ways to do most of the things. Oh, there it is. It's hiding behind one of these other ones. So when space key is pressed, and I'm going to zoom in on that just a little bit. Okay, so when the space key is pressed, we're going to change this character's Y coordinate by 100. So Y, if we're thinking about an X, Y plane, if you've used math, it looks something like, trying to give you an example, straight up and down and left and right. The Y direction is up or down. And so in this particular case, it looks like when the space key is pressed, the penguin's Y position changes by 100. It looks like there's a wait here for half a second. So if anybody can, what do you think? What do you think the waits are in here for when we do this? So for right now, we are going up by 100 in the Y direction. Then we're going down in the Y direction by using a minus. But what do we think those weights might be in there for? What would they make it show up like that for? Oh, we can't find the game. Okay, that's all right. Just this is more of an example at this point, Owen, that you can't find the game. We're just exploring it at this point. We're going to jump into some more stuff shortly, but so just follow along with what I'm pointing at on the screen, and we'll see if we can figure this out together. And then I will share this in the comments shortly when we get on something else. I'll share the entire project so that you can look at it later. And that's something that I will do for your projects as well. If you share those with me, I will put them out to everyone on the live stream and let them know and be impressed by the work that you're doing. So changing Y by 100, waiting, changing Y by -50, waiting again, and then changing Y by -50 again. Why do we think that wait might be in there? What would it achieve for us in the game by waiting after we change the Y? And if we don't know exactly, one of the things that we can do is just remove it and see what happens without it. So I'm going to remove both of the weights and just stack up the changes just like this. Let's see what happens this time when I press the space key. Nothing. All right, so that's exactly what is not happening. That's what we're finding out here. So it doesn't look like the penguin is jumping at all whenever we do not have those weights in place. The weights actually give the player the perception that their character is moving up and down. Because otherwise, this code runs so fast in order that it changed and went up by 100, went up by 100 and came down by 50 and 50 again immediately. And so we didn't even have time to see that our character had jumped up and down. And so what we're going to talk about today, FastSnake00, nice job on your work here. Really glad to see this cool project that you've been working on. And again, we'll share this out in just a moment. But we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about how to make some visual effects in our games in order to make them more exciting for the users. And so if you just saw the weights that FastSnake had added to his game, it caused it to look like our character was jumping up and down. So we're going to make our players feel like something cool is happening in the game when maybe it's not. So I'm going to start this off by showing you one of our projects real quick and showing you a baseball game that we created. And I'll share this one out at the end as well so that you can check it out and play it, see if you can beat our high score. But in this particular game, Scratch is a two-dimensional game. It means that we can see things left and right and up and down, but there's really no depth for us in the Scratch programming environment. This is different from Roblox or any other 3D modeling software. And Scratch is two-dimensional, completely two-dimensional. And so when we make games that we want to give some dimension to so that it feels like the game is much deeper and the players can interact a lot better, we have to do some things to make that happen. So watch this game that we made. So the cat's running around in the outfield trying to catch fly balls. And we gave it the effect that it looks like the balls are actually coming towards us a little bit. Now, we didn't exaggerate this effect. We just wanted it to be simple for people to be able to play. But it looks like all of those baseballs are coming from this home plate area and then getting larger as they get towards the cat in the outfield. So we're going to create something similar to this today so that you can add some a visual effect similar to that. And then we might talk about some of the costumes or other visual effects for the characters. All right. So if you're in Scratch, go ahead and click Create at the top and start creating your own project. And to go ahead and start off, we can make the Scratch cat. I'm going to make the cat much smaller, so something like 50. I'm going to do this by changing the size right above the sprites for this cat. So I'm going to move the cat towards the bottom, and then you can go ahead and add a backdrop just so that we can have something that gives us that dimension. If you want to add the baseball diamond, I believe it's, maybe I found that baseball diamond somewhere, but we're going to add something so that it looks like we are, we have something coming towards us. So I'll go to the playing field down here in the bottom, or down, something like this. So we have our Scratch cat, and remember all the movement that we showed last week on that. I may go through that again today, but really quickly, just so that we can get the movement going. So what I want this to do is I want it to seem like maybe a soccer ball or something kicked from here is coming closer to my cat. So this is a lot trickier than it seems. We can't just make the ball go on a straight line towards our cat without doing a few things to it to make it look like it's moving. So let's go ahead and add the soccer ball first. Choose a sprite. And I'm going to scroll down, soccer ball. And the soccer ball is huge right now, much larger than my cat. I don't want that soccer ball coming towards me any way like that. So I'm going to change the size of the soccer ball as well. We'll try 50, see if that works. Maybe a little bit smaller to start out with, so that it looks like the ball is positioned really far away from our cat. Remember, this is just a 2D image that we have in front of us here in the game screen. We have this background, we have a cat, and we have this soccer ball. So what did I do to make it look like the soccer ball was farther away from my character? What things did I do to the soccer ball so that it makes it look like it's smaller, or makes it look like it's farther away? So I made the soccer ball smaller, and so that's called perspective. And this may talk about this in art class a little bit too. If we want something to look like it's farther away from us, and then when we actually see something that's farther away from us, it's necessarily smaller. Then yeah, exactly. We change the size. Thank you, Owen, for that. We change the size to make it much smaller. So again, soccer ball looks like it's on the other end of the field. We're going to make it move towards our cat. And we're going to do that when the flag is clicked. So events, when flag is clicked. And we have to tell it, remember, when we're moving, which direction and how fast. So we're going to look for the direction that we want our ball to go. And that all of this is going to be in the motion blocks. Point towards sprite 1. So you won't see the ball rotating, but that's the great thing about the soccer ball. As it moves around, it doesn't really look much different on that. So point towards sprite 1, which is our cat, and then move 10 steps. Now, if we do this one time, obviously, it's only going to happen once. We don't want that. We want it to keep happening until it touches our cat. So we are going to go to Control and repeat until, and we're going to put the move 10 steps inside of that. Now, who remembers which blocks we use in order to tell if we're touching the sprite or any other object on the screen. We've got this repeat until block, but we're going to detect if something happens in order to stop moving. And what is that thing that we're going to do that would go right into this block in the repeat loop? It would be over, and someone may be answering. It's in sensing, and this very top one that says touching, and it has a question mark. Whenever anything has a question mark in Scratch, that means either this is true or it's false. Either this is touching the mouse pointer or it's not touching the mouse pointer. We're going to change this to sprite 1 and drag this inside of the repeat until touching sprite 1. So I'm going to move the ball back to the midfield, click the flag, and it looks like it's sliding across the field to my cat. And we're going to make it look a little bit better. We're going to change some things so that it actually looks like it's getting closer to the cat as it moves. But for right now, we're just making it move across the screen. All right, and notice, and you may find this as well, every time that it touches the cat, it just stops and you have to drag it back. The way that we fix that is we're going to tell the ball where to go whenever we start with the green flag button. Okay, so this green flag is really kicking off our project, and we want to tell the ball where to go at the beginning, because right now it's just stopping there. If I click the green flag again, nothing happens. It doesn't reset itself. So in motion, there's a block that says go to X and Y. And notice as I move the soccer ball around and let it go with my mouse or your finger pointer if you're dragging it on a tablet, that X and Y value changes over here. And this is super helpful because it lets you know exactly which X and which Y is the location for the ball at that given point where you drop it. So if I set it right here, it says go to X0 and Y28. I'm going to drag that block and put it right under when flag is clicked. So now, every time I click the green flag, first it goes back to its original position, then it moves through the rest of the code. All right, so whenever we're setting up a game, make sure that at the beginning you are setting up all of the characters and all of the sprites exactly where you want them to be, and use this go to X and Y. You can drag it around with your mouse and position it, and then use this go to X and Y to make sure that it's in the right spot. Now, what else did you notice about that baseball in that video that I was showing you earlier, that project that I was showing you earlier, as it came towards the cat? What do we think should happen as that soccer ball is moving towards the cat so that the person playing my game makes it feel like that the ball is getting much closer to them? Anyone have any ideas on where we can go from there to make that look like the ball is getting closer to our cat instead of just sliding across like that? And Owen had said it earlier when we were talking about the pushing the ball back, but I'm going to show it again. Change the size. That's exactly what we're doing when we're trying to add depth to our game. Whenever we want to make something smaller or larger, it look like it's moving back and forth with our character, we want to change the size. We can do that in the look blocks. We can do that programmatically with the looks block. And we want to make sure, again, that the ball goes right back to the beginning and the size is 30 to begin with. And repeat until touching sprite 1, move 10 steps, and then I'm going to change the size by 10. So every 10 steps, and we'll change this if it doesn't look right for us in this particular case, but and it didn't really look right that time, and you can play around with this as well. But it looked like the ball is getting much, much bigger as we go. So maybe changing the size by 10 isn't exactly what we want. Maybe we can change it by 2 and see if that works. And can anyone identify what I didn't put in here? So the ball is just continuing to grow larger and larger every time that I click the flag button, so that it doesn't even look like I'm doing anything at this point. How can I fix this? All right, I'm going to set the size at the beginning. Remember, just like we're positioning the ball at the beginning, we're also going to set the size at the beginning. And if we set the size to 100 to start out with, and then set the size to 30, yeah. Set the size. Thank you, Owen, for that. Set the size to 30 in our code. Then every time that we click the flag and start it again, it looks like the flag is, or the ball is getting closer every time we click the flag. Just like that. It looks like 2 works well for me. Maybe you can try something else and see if that works. But we are changing the size as we move, and it's inside of this repeat until block. So every time we move 10 steps, it's getting a little bit closer to our character, and we're going to change the size a little bit to make it look like it's closer to our character. All right, now we're going to have some fun with the cat before we talk about how to share your project with us. Some other looks in the game that actually make it really cool and fun to try out for your cat. So events, when flag is clicked, jump up. Looks, and if you go down to the bottom of looks, these purple blocks on the left, there's something that says change color effect by 25. But there's all kinds of other effects inside of here. We're going to drag the change color effect over first, and we're going to wrap it in a forever loop. So control forever. When flag is clicked, forever change the color effect by 25. Try that and see what happens with your cat. So the color effect gives us a little disco effect for our cat. It's kind of fun if you want to add some effects to your characters throughout the game, your sprites, making sure that if you want to have something fun like this, you can change the color effect. But then you can get into the other effects, the fisheye effect. Try that out. It looks like our cat is going all fisheye and really disappeared completely. Anytime you click stop, these will be gone, so you don't have to worry about messing up the cat character. The whirl effect, so that your character is disappearing into oblivion. Pixelate, maybe this is the Thanos snap effect, that everything is gone and your character is gone. So maybe you could set that up in your game. Mosaic is similar. Brightness, this really just makes if you want the character to glow or look bright for just a few moments, you can do that here. And then finally, ghost makes the character disappear. They've turned into a ghost, so they're gone completely. And you can change how much this effect applies to the character. So for instance, on the color effect, maybe instead of 25 every time, I'm moving forward by 2 or 3 every time. And the color is a much more gradual shift as opposed to that disco effect we had earlier. Maybe it feels more like a lava lamp effect that's kind of barely moving. Change it to 1, it's probably even more so than that. Okay, so talked about how to make your game a little more interactive for the users, make it feel like something cool is moving, that we've added some depth to our game so that the ball looks like it's coming towards the cat instead of just sliding across the screen. And I encourage you to try this out. Try out some of them. I'm going to share the one that we made with spring training. I'd love you to remix that or create your own from scratch, and let us know how that works out for you, and let us showcase your project next week on next week's live stream. But I'm going to go ahead and bring up a video. This is how to share your Scratch project and where we want you to send it to us in order for us to showcase it. Hey, this is Ryan with TechWise Academy. I'm going to quickly show you how to share your Scratch projects. So at the beginning of every live stream going forward, I'm going to showcase a student's Scratch project that they've shared with me. And I'm going to walk through quickly how to do that in this video. So what you're going to do is you're going to log into your Scratch account. I've logged into my TechWise Academy account. At the top, click on your account name, and then click on My Stuff. And then you see all of your projects listed on this page. And you notice some of my projects have these little icons on the right. They have like an eyeball with some numbers next to that and the unshare link. These are projects that I have already shared out. If it's allowing me to unshare it, that means I've already shared it. But for projects that, maybe this one that I did on last week's live stream, it just says delete, I can click on the title of that project. And at the top, there's this orange ribbon, and there's a share button on that. So click share. And now the project is shared. If you are under a certain age, Scratch actually has you to verify with your parents first. And so go ahead and do that. Get their email, or it will send a link to their email that they have to approve that you can share that. And it's just a safety measure they have in place, but it's not too difficult to take care of there. And then once you've shared your project, scroll down to the bottom and click this blue link that says copy link. And then when this pops up, click the copy link hyperlink. Now that'll copy this link to your Scratch project that then you can send to me in an email. And what we're going to have you do is send all of those to code@techwiseacademy.com. And then in future live streams, I'm going to open up one of these projects at the beginning, kind of show off your work a little bit, and then talk through the code a little bit at the beginning so that we can learn from each other and that we can all celebrate the work that you guys are putting into coding. So anyway, share your Scratch project, send it to code@techwiseacademy.com, and you might be featured on one of the upcoming live streams. Thanks. Okay, so that's how you share your project, and we definitely want to showcase the work that you're doing, because coding is it's a journey. We get better as we learn from each other, and we get better as we practice it ourselves. So as you are working through your own Scratch projects, we'd love to give feedback. We'd love to be helpful in any way that we can. If maybe you're stuck somewhere, if you email us your project and you're like, I'm stuck, I don't know how to do this, maybe we could walk through that in part of our introduction in our live stream videos. We'd love to have you send that to us at code@techwiseacademy.com. That's where we want you to send those to, and we'll check out what's going on. So anyway, I want to bring back up our project. Are there any other questions about what I did today, how to make that ball look like it's moving around? Is there anything that you'd like to see happen on the screen that I haven't done yet? And if so, I'll try to go through that really quickly before we jump off this afternoon. All right, great, guys. Thank you so much for joining this afternoon. Again, coding is a journey. Thank you so much for exploring with me this afternoon, and look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.